Now, I know this is a hot take, but Super Bowl 60 was one of my favorite Super Bowls ever. And I know it was a defensive slaughter fest, but I'm a Division I safety, so I'm a sucker for all the different disguise coverages and DB pressures, and there was a ton of them in this game. So in this video, we're going to look at 13 of my favorite plays from the Super Bowl and break down the game from literally every single angle. So let's look at this safety structure here. We have two high safeties, so that usually means some sort of zone coverage, like some sort of cover two would make sense. This guy could be playing the flat. He could be playing over top, deep half, maybe a hole shot to the side. But then you get into a weird conundrum because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys up to the line of scrimmage. So if they all were to rush, this running back better be ready to pick somebody up. But that's not even the issue. The real problem is that out of all of these guys rushing, the last you would expect is this nickel. And so when this ball gets snapped, we're going to see something really unique happen. We're going to see this guy drop into a deep third. Now he's really just playing a bail technique, and that means that when he drops back, he's going to look at 2 vertical and 1 vertical as well, and just try to make sure that he's taking whoever is the deeper of the 2 routes. This nickel came up and blitzed into this gap, eventually making the play, while this Mike was dropping back into coverage, because if he would have ran quick across the field, nobody is there. This edge was rushing up the field to make sure that he was creating contact with this third receiver, this wide tight end, so that way he's not able to get to his hot route as quick. And then that buys time for this nickel to be able to get through this gap and get to the quarterback in time. But all of this was only possible because of the elite pre-snap disguise. Go back just a little bit ago. We said that we had 2 high safeties, this free and this strong, up top showing some sort of too high picture. Really looks like zone because the corners are off. And now all of a sudden you have this guy playing straight up man-to-man over here in the boundary. And then on the top, you're going to have a field safety rotation. Meanwhile, this free safety is dropping down and trying to buy hole help, replacing where this nickel just left. So yeah, you can talk crap on Drake May if you want. Like, it really was not his best game he's ever played. He played way better games earlier in the season. But this is a lot of stuff to figure out on the fly. Now, yes, if you're an NFL quarterback, you got to know how to do it. But when the lights are shining the brightest in the Super Bowl and you have to say, ready, set, hut, and then in that 3-step drop, figure out what the heck is going on and where your read progression went. Especially when the wide 9 technique is blowing up your hot read. And then all of a sudden you see a nickel who you weren't even counting for in the protection scheme in the first place showing up in your face. It's a lot of things to take account of. Yeah, Drake May didn't play his best game, but it's important to realize the beauty of the defense and realize how all of these pieces work together to help each other out. If at any point Drake May were to say, hey, let's just see if he can beat him on some deep route, you know? It's a one-on-one shot. But because the safety's over the top showing 2 over 1, he's talking him out of it. It really is a chess match that you got to figure out on the fly and calculate all these moves in real time. All right, so right here we're looking at a 3-by-1 picture from the New England Patriots. And when they motion this guy across, we're seeing that they're playing this zone picture. The announcers were on this all night. But the thing I want to focus on is this. When the ball is snapped, the Seahawks are in this Okie front. At this point, you can see that the left tackle is able to get leverage on this 5 technique. And the center is doing the same thing, pinning the nose to the inside. The receiver is even cutting up on the safety. So all the running back has to do, number 32, is just literally run up this hole. I'm going to pause it right here. So as of right now, this is a great place for the offense to be in. However, there's one big issue. The Seahawks D linemen are some grown men. When your offensive linemen are in this 3-point stance like this, and they take a step out and are getting blown backwards into the ball to the point where they're making the tackle on their own running back, these 2 dudes are getting sandwiched together. Ain't nothing you can do to stop that. This is what coaches mean when they say that games are won and lost in the trenches. And to finish it off, look at how many hats are on this ball at the end. There's like 7 dudes on this tackle. Now, play number 2. This one was pretty creative. This Patriots defense was playing their hearts out, man. Oh my goodness. Look at this scheme here. This is the classic double Mabel scheme that you'll see in Madden. Both defensive ends are dropping out to the side. The nickels are blitzing. They're blitzing the user, bruh. If y'all want to see me get on the game, I will literally get on the stakes and beat all of you guys. Drop it in the comments. But especially in an empty picture, when you show 5 guys up that are all spread out across different spots, you're forcing the offensive line to respect it and take that wide kick step out to get to where they would have been. Only to see that these defensive end linebacker builds are bailing out to the flats, which results in a PBU from a guy that started at the line of scrimmage. And the icing on the cake is how well they were able to time up that blitz to get up in the middle as well. Just so that way they can make sure they're hitting this line at a full speed so that when they cross the line of scrimmage, they're there to be able to match hands and make a play on the quarterback. I mean, this was when I knew it was going to be a fun game to watch. One of the best zone beaters in the quick game is this stick concept. So all it means is you're going to have one guy that goes out to the flat quick to try and gain leverage and space the field out horizontally. And the other guy is going to push up the field first and try and get inside of this hook curl defender. And once you get that leverage, just stick your foot, roll away, catch from the quarterback. Should be pretty simple because regardless of what zone it is, if it were to be a cover 3 where it's the linebacker playing in that hook curl, or whether it were to even be some sort of cover 2 where the field safety is dropping in the middle playing that Tampa middle-ish area, no matter who it is, as long as you get that leverage and stick your foot in the ground and run away, you're going to be able to get in that window. But this is where the Patriots watched a crap ton of film because there's no way jersey number 25 from the Patriots is going to be able to break on this ball faster than the quarterback is able to get it to his receiver. Especially when you consider that in a zone, this is the weak spot of the zone. Once 25 knows where his weakness is at, and he's able to really just break on that quick, and he almost intercepts this, bro, I wish he would have had this. Because this game would have been a lot more competitive had it been 12-7 at the end of that fourth quarter. You know, Drake May would have felt a lot better about himself as opposed to throwing up donuts all game. And he was still throwing up donuts, but ain't nobody was eating them, you know? The defense could have been eating them donuts. As a DB, that's the stuff that you hate to see, like a perfectly played rep 90% of the way through, and then at the very end they catch it. It's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, they caught that. Like, I couldn't have played that much better. Now, this one was a little bit unique because it was a draw. Now, all that a draw means is that the offensive line is going to drop back into their pass protection as if it were a pass. The quarterback's going to mimic the same 3-step drop back, whatever. I don't even think he did a 3-step. I think he just did a 1-step and was looking away, only to then turn and hand the ball to your running back who's going to take the ball and look for a space up the middle. When you do this, you're trying to get your linebackers to drop up out of there when they're reading this quarterback's footwork, so that way the running back can get a better head start. It's sort of similar to like a screen that you wouldn't get the same footwork from a D end if he knows that he can crash down and hold the edge as opposed to an edge trying to come off the end, swim, and get to the quarterback, you know? Now, I've heard one of the most interesting stats that I've ever heard about run plays that hit in between the tackles, and it's that when the running back is going away, the opposite linebacker has an 80% success rate at making that tackle. And it's because he's going to be unaccounted for so often. Like, look at this picture here. It's this tight end's job to try and cut all the way across this field to somehow gain a leverage advantage to block this inside backer. But when you look at it head up, everybody else is occupied, especially when you realize that the right tackle is accounting for this wide 9 off of the edge. Now, this play was really interesting. I love this footwork here from number 7 because you can see that he's tracking this receiver across the field as he motions. It indicates a few things. One, the Patriots are going to be in man-to-man defense. So in the red zone, you want to play with inside leverage. And all that means is that you're on the inside half of your man that you're guarding. And they're about to score a touchdown if the Patriots don't hold up. So by playing with that inside leverage, you're taking away all of those quick inside breaking routes, those slant routes, those dig routes, those crossing routes, whatever it is that's going inside and across the field. But where the Seahawks messed up was they let jersey number 7 get set up. And he's back in his stance, and he took the opposite approach than what I was just explaining. He took this with outside leverage. Because jersey number 7 is smart. He knows 2 things are going to happen. One, this route's going to break at the sticks. It's third down. And on top of this, too, he knows that this route is most likely going to break out because the coach wanted to use the motion so that way he can move in the same direction. If you guys remember earlier from that stick concept that we saw when they motioned and jetted out to the sideline quick, and then the other guy dude stuck out, and then Patriots dude almost intercepted it, jersey number 25. It's a very similar moment. So because of the motion and the third down, he knows this route is going to break to the outside. So now he's able to anticipate this route, break perfectly, and make the play. 21 is right there behind him celebrating. That's what I would have been like, no, sir. No, sir. Play number 7. We got the Seahawks here in this cover 6 look. And all that means is that they're going to be playing cover 2 to the short side and cover 4 to the wide side of the field. So this means that this Sam backer, or whatever you want to call this linebacker in the left low middle of the field around the 40-yard line, he's going to be dropping out into what would be the hook curl area of the field. So if you really want to take advantage of this defense, you can do it in one of two ways. You could hit the whole shot at the top of the screen, all the way at the top, or you could try and throw this wheel route, which actually did end up coming open. But when you get knocked back from the wide 9 as much as you did, that's trying to crash down, and you can just flatten the tackle back into the quarterback's lap, there's no way that Drake May is going to be able to go from looking at the strong side to going back into his read progression, having his own man in his face, stepping back and throwing that wheel route all the way over the top. Like, that's too many moving pieces, and it all starts up front. So, like I told you earlier, this game is won and lost in the trenches. Really good on Seattle's secondary for being able to hold on and close the gaps where they know that they're weak. But more impressive is the Seahawks defensive line because they were just dominating up front. All right, we got play number 8 here, and I want you to focus at the bottom of the screen. We got this one-on-one matchup. Doesn't really matter what the coverage is. Just know that it's one-on-one. Yes, there's a safety over the top, so it presents as 2-over-1, but at the end of the day, this is a press man matchup, and I want to show you the technique that we're looking at. But pay attention to the split of this wide receiver. I'm going to get on the field here. I know you can't really see everything in proportions, but the NFL field splits are different. But this receiver might as well be 2 to 3 yards from the sideline. And the thing is, when you take a split that's this wide, yes, if you went on the slant, you're going to have a ton of space to the inside. But you're also eliminating the threat of any out-breaking routes because the quarterback is not going to be able to throw the ball into this tight of a window for the toe tap. You know, you would need to scoot your split more inside to have the threat of breaking out. So I say all that to say this. This receiver at the bottom of the screen can run a few routes. He can go straight down the field. He can run some sort of slant, maybe a dig, or he can run the curl. And you're going to know which one he's going to run based off of his release. If he does any sort of outside release, so he's getting towards the sideline, the only routes that he can run from that position is to sit down on the curl route or put his hand up and go over the top. But like I said, it's 2-over-1, and the quarterback is smarter than to just throw it up blindly. Well, I mean, at the end of the game, I'm sure you guys saw it. Drake May gave his little brother the controller, and he just started pressing buttons, throwing into triple coverage, quadruple coverage, and he was completing some of them. I was like, what the heck? But yeah, especially when you take into consideration that it's third down, the odds of that go route are so low, so it makes it so much easier for the Seahawk defensive back to know that this sit-down route is coming. Now, he doesn't know at what depth it's going to happen, but he knows that all he has to do is keep his eyes on the hip and just be ready to react and sit down and make this play, and that's exactly what he did. And that's the problem with having these wide splits. Personally, I think wide splits are really good in the college game because the hashes are further apart. So if the ball's on the right hash and you have a wide split all the way to the left, there's more space in between the quarterback and the receiver. Whereas in the NFL, when you do the wide splits and the hashes are tight together, you don't get nearly as dramatic as an effect, but you still eliminate a ton of the routes. So it depends on which game you're in, which rule set you're following, as opposed to if you want to try and use this to your advantage or not. And on this one, it sort of backfired on the Patriots, especially on third down. Third downs are so important, man. All right, now I know I got these clips all out of order. This was not the order that they happened in the game at all. But we're taking these plays as isolated events. But this was the very next play after 25 missed the interception. He comes back and gets lined up for the very next play, 1st and 10. And the Seahawks hit him with this end around, play action. He's dropping back in the pocket, trying to see who to throw it to. Who do I want to target 25 again? Because he almost just intercepted it. And he's out of phase. He's running, trying to catch up. But he's still able to get a hand in this pocket and try and disrupt the ball. It's a great catch from Cooper Kupp, man. You really, the life of a DB is a game of inches, bro. I wish I had a coaching point for this. You can do everything right throughout the whole rep as a defensive back. And if you get that ball caught off your head when your hand's in the pocket, even if you punch the pocket perfectly, and he holds onto that ball like he's Julio Jones and goes you went from making the play to going on Instagram, buddy. Now this is another third down from Drake May, and we're going to see that the Seahawks are still in some sort of zone coverage. I'm not really too worried about which one it is, some sort of one high shell. But when you see these big lifts, especially in a third and short situation, just get the ball to your playmaker quick. Because if you get the running back the ball, all of a sudden he's able to make somebody miss with bad leverage, and he's going to run up the sideline for a second and make you feel like a really good QB for getting him the ball. Those are free passing yards. And if Drake May would have been willing to take the check down on a few more of those routes at the end of the game, he would have seen himself moving the chains and staying in the game, as opposed to being down 2 scores and now it's just like, okay, we're just playing this game to play the game at the end of it. You know, you could have been playing for something. So it's important to get into the habit of taking these check down routes. Now on the defensive side of things, Seahawks, you got to make this tackle. If you're going to miss the tackle, you want to miss it at least on your left shoulder. So when I'm coming down, at least miss and make him cut back into all my pursuit. When he's coming across my face and I miss with my right shoulder, then he has the whole sideline to be able to turn up. He has so many dudes inside. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes who are all in pursuit running, but instead, because he hit with the wrong shoulder, the sideline's open. And how many yards does this go for? Shoot, it doesn't even matter. It's a first down, you know? Now, this play, on the other hand, was one of the best disguises of the game as well. You can see the one high structure, and it looks like they're playing man-to-man. This corner at the bottom of the screen in the boundary is even playing pressed up against the receiver. But as this ball gets snapped, you can see that they're adding pressure from the left side. The corner's getting a jam on his man quick. Safeties are rotating from 1 high to 2 high. And now the linebacker's dropping back from being up in the count, and now you have a cover 2 shell with some added pressure coming at the quarterback. It's a lot of things to process if you're Drake May in the heat of battle. Now, Drake May, I give him credit here because he's throwing the ball to the running back quick because he's assuming that it's man-to-man in the pre-snap picture because of the one high shell, because of the press corner, because of this Nichols alignment over number 2, because of how this edge looked like he might be able to map over number 3 and drop out quick. So he gets a really physical jam. Great job throwing off the timing for this whole shot because the corner knows that if he's showing press man, he's weak over the top of man-to-man. But in cover 2, he's also weak in that same area. So if the quarterback has any sort of go ball, he's looking at it anyway. So it's important that the corner gets on hand so we can at least slow the receiver down from getting to that weak spot of the field. But meanwhile, corner comes off and makes a phenomenal tackle in space. The quicker that you're able to close that space between yourself and the ball carrier while the ball's in the air, the easier it's going to be to make that tackle. And also the more violent you're going to be able to be at the finish point, which is why these 2 plays back-to-back shows how important it is to make your tackles in open field. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these Patriots DBs had a very solid night, especially jersey number 0. He was playing out of his mind all game. But what I really want you to focus on this rep, yeah, it's a great PBU. I want you to look at jersey number 31. Look at how he's trying to bait the quarterback into thinking that he's blitzing up the field early, only to spin out and drop all the way to the post. And you can see that he's even relating to this crossing route as it goes across the field. But with his eyes on the quarterback, he's able to see that this ball is deeper and spin and get all the way back to where he needed to help at. And if this ball would have gotten tipped in a different direction, he's right there for the interception, which could have ended up winning the game for him. On defense, it's so much about working together. And even if you make the play, it might have been because of somebody else's disguise why that play was able to be made in the first place. You're manipulating with the quarterback's read progression and his number count when you're able to do things like disguise and be in the post when you're really baiting at the line of scrimmage and then dropping out at the top. You're able to do that when you're jamming in a cover 2 as a corner and you're eliminating that whole shot, but you're showing a man-to-man stance and you're really playing cover 2, and then you finish it off with a great tackle in the flat. It shows up in moments like this when you're the free safety in the middle and kick all the way to the sideline, knowing that you're stressed out in this area if they were to throw it up, but you're trusting these wide 9 techniques to shut down his vision early so that way you have the time to be able to run all the way that far across the field. That was 13 plays that proved that Super Bowl 60 was not boring. But all glory to God. Thank you for watching, man. Be easy.